Raised beds are often presented as the final evolution of gardening. They drain well, warm quickly, and look orderly. Yet they also dry out faster, require imported materials, and struggle in hot or arid conditions. Long before lumber frames and bagged soil, farmers developed a garden bed style designed not to shed water, but to capture it, store it, and cycle it efficiently through the soil. This forgotten approach consistently outperforms raised beds where resilience matters most. What follows is not theory, but an old system with deep historical roots, one that modern gardeners are quietly rediscovering because it works. Why ancient farmers built beds below ground instead of above it. In regions where water was precious and soils were thin, ancient growers learned that elevation was a liability. Cultures across the American Southwest, parts of North Africa, the Andes and the Middle East shaped their gardens downward rather than upward. These were sunken beds, sometimes called waffle gardens, or basin beds, designed to slow evaporation and concentrate fertility. By lowering the growing surface below surrounding ground level, wind exposure was reduced, moisture was trapped, and temperature swings were moderated. Every rainfall, even light or brief, was captured instead of lost to runoff. Now, let's talk about how sunken beds quietly solve the biggest problems that come with raised beds. You see, raised beds are great for drainage, but in dry climates or sandy soils, that efficiency can actually become a bit wasteful. Water just rushes right through and nutrients tend to leach downward, slipping out of reach. Plus, organic matter breaks down much faster, which means you've got to add more all the time. Watering becomes, well, a constant chore. But sunken beds, they flip this whole dynamic on its head. Water actually infiltrates and stays put, right where you need it. Nutrients move laterally and even upward through capillary action, instead of just flushing away. And organic matter? It decomposes more slowly, feeding soil life over much longer periods. The result of all this isn't just better moisture retention, it's also, honestly, greater biological stability. So, why does this style of bed create stronger soil with less effort on your part? Well, the real advantage of sunken beds comes down to soil biology. When soil is moist and protected, it encourages fungal networks, bacteria, and all sorts of invertebrates to absolutely thrive. These tiny organisms bind soil particles into stable aggregates, which naturally improves structure. It's a simple approach that lets nature do most of the hard work for you. Raised beds often rely on imported soil mixes that honestly just don't have the long-term structure we really need. Sunken beds, on the other hand, work with your native soil, improving it year after year rather than simply replacing it. Now, let's consider how historical examples really prove long-term performance. Zuni waffle gardens, which are still visible today, supported corn, beans, squash and herbs in desert conditions with minimal irrigation. Up in the Andes, sunken plots buffered crops against both frost and drought at the same time. In arid Middle Eastern gardens, basin beds concentrated compost, manure and household waste exactly where the roots could reach it. These systems, were not just temporary solutions. Many were actually used continuously for generations. So, let's talk about how to build a sunken bed using modern tools, but, you know, ancient logic. The process begins by marking out a rectangular or square bed, and it's typically no wider than arm's reach from either side, which just makes sense for easy access. Instead of piling soil upward, you actually remove soil to a depth of about 8 to 12 inches and place it around the perimeter to form a low berm. It's a clever way of working with the land, really. Now the base of the bed is loosened, but not turned aggressively, just gently worked, you see. Then compost or aged organic matter is mixed into the top few inches, not layered deeply, but just enough to enrich the soil. The goal here is to create a shallow basin that holds water without, becoming stagnant. It's a fine balance to strike. Paths between beds remain slightly higher, which quite cleverly directs rainfall inward rather than away. It's a simple but effective way to make the most of every drop, really. Now, let's talk about how planting and watering in sunken beds are a bit different from what you might be used to with raised beds. You see, planting density tends to be slightly higher in sunken beds because, well, moisture and nutrients are much more concentrated in that space. Instead of planting seeds right at the edges, you'll want to place them just above the deepest point of the basin. This little adjustment ensures that roots will naturally grow downward into those stable moisture zones, where they'll find exactly what they need. Watering sunken beds is, a slower and less frequent affair. When you do add water, it's best to apply it gently until the basin fills up and the water has a chance to soak in. This method encourages roots to grow deep, seeking out moisture, and it also helps reduce evaporation from the surface. It's really quite efficient, you know. Mulching? Well, it's optional but can be very effective in sunken beds. Using a light layer of organic mulch will help retain moisture without smothering the soil life beneath. It's a simple step that can make quite a difference, actually. Now, let's talk about why sunken beds tend to outperform raised beds as the years go by. In the very first season, raised beds might seem more productive, thanks to their loose soil and the way they warm up quickly. But as you move into the second and third seasons, sunken beds often take the lead, with better plant health, more consistent yields, and, well, less work needed overall. Over time, you'll notice the soil in sunken beds becomes darker, more crumbly, and just full of life. There are fewer weeds popping up, mainly because you're not disturbing the soil as much. And, quite importantly, crops tend to show less stress during those heat waves and dry spells that can really challenge a garden. The real beauty is that the bed actually improves rather than degrades as seasons pass. So let's talk about where raised beds still make sense and where, honestly, sunken beds tend to dominate. Raised beds remain really quite useful in cold, wet climates with heavy clay soils, where drainage is the primary concern. On the other hand, sunken beds excel in temperate to hot regions, sandy or depleted soils, and, well, just about anywhere water efficiency truly matters. The ancient system was never universal. It was, in fact, adaptive. And if you ask me, that adaptability is its greatest strength. Now, why was this knowledge overshadowed rather than disproven? Modern gardening trends, more often than not, favour visible structure and convenience. Lumber frames, clean edges, and imported soil. They photograph well and, let's be honest, scale easily for retail. Sunken beds, by contrast, look unremarkable at first glance, but their performance, well, that tells a completely different story. You know, they were lost not because they failed, but because they did not fit industrial models. So, what does this forgotten bed style offer today? Well, it offers resilience instead of dependence. It offers soil that improves rather than erodes. And honestly, it offers productivity with fewer inputs, less water and, you know, greater ecological balance. For gardeners who are serious about long-term soil health, this is really not a step backward, but a return to proven wisdom. If this guide expanded how you think about garden design and soil performance, please support Hydrohaven by subscribing, sharing this episode, and helping to bring durable, history-tested growing methods back into modern practice.